Hello everyone, welcome back to our new writing vlog. Today is June 13th and it's time for another writing vlog about the sequel to Gods, Rot and Ruin. If you haven't watched the first writing vlog, I can link that in one of these corners and also in the description below. But this is going to be a weekly one, a short one, because I'm going to vlog today, Monday the 13th, and then for the whole week. Maybe only up until Wednesday, maybe up until Sunday, but I'm going to work from Thursday to Saturday, so that's why. I just finished a chapter. I finished chapter 16, 27,000. I hit that today, and I have written 2,048 words up until now today, and it's 12 o'clock. So I'm going to hopefully try to write some more in the evening and hopefully get maybe 2,000 words more. Because for the last couple of days since I graduated, because I did that, I graduated, I don't know what you call it in the US, if it's high school or not. My plans are to begin university in fall, but we'll see about that. Anyway, I graduated last Wednesday. Yeah, last Wednesday, so it hasn't even been a week. But then I began working on Friday and now it's Monday. So I had yesterday off and I have today up until Wednesday off to do whatever I want. So I'm back home because where I work is not where I live. So I'm back home, and let me just say that working at the library that I'm for the summer, working there has been like the greatest decision and the greatest... I'm so grateful for it, because the library or librarian job is perfect for me. I like being surrounded by books. I like being able to help others get their books, borrowed books, fixing that, and everything has a system with all the books in the library and scanning them, and it is so fun. Like, my planning part of my brain is having so much fun when I'm working there. So that's an update on that, but I haven't been able to write that much. I think I wrote maybe 500 words one of the days, so maybe Friday I was able to write 400 to 500 words. But then I haven't been able to write anything since then. So today is the first time since maybe a week that I have written, and I'm very happy about it. And now we're getting into the territory in my book where a lot of things is happening. We have already set up my characters, so they're all good. And all the characters that are important in the later half has been introduced. The last two characters were introduced in the 16th chapter, the chapter that I just wrote. And that chapter ended up being 3,000 words because it was quite long. But now begins the true detective work for my characters. And this chapter right here is going to be kind of building the romantic relationship. It's so much fun. And I really hope that I'm doing this justice, I guess this idea justice. And I hope that when the beta reader reads this, she's going to like it as much as I am writing it. I think I'm structured. Like, I think my structure is good. There might be one thing that I need to change, and that has to do with the first victim. I know that there has to be a victim early on in a murder mystery, because otherwise the murder mystery might as well begin in like the third act. But since I'm doing murder mystery, and I wanted that to be a big aspect of my whole book, of course, there had to be a murder victim earlier on in my novel. But because that happens so early on, there is the case with my readers might not fully understand why my main character wants to solve this problem. You know, they don't have any feeling or connection to the character that dies, so they won't feel anything and they won't want to continue reading because they don't know why it matters. But I hope that has come across, and I'm going to have some questions about that for my beta reader, for her to look out for. But now we get to the wedding night. That's the chapter that I'm gonna write next. And it's going to be emotional, and the chapter after that is going to build kind of the romantic relationship. Like, nothing major romantic has happened or steamy has happened, and it's not going to happen for a long time because this is a kind of slow burn. They don't really like each other. It's not enemies to lovers, but it's kind of hate to love. So it's going to be a slow burn. But this is the first inkling of romantic feeling. I'm very happy about how this has been going so far. I haven't even written a month and I am almost halfway through my goal. So I'm at 27,000 now. I don't think I will be at the halfway point of my story when I'm at 40k. but it will still be a very good accomplishment and like I have already written 40,000 words. It is half of a novel, and that's great. And I'm also trying to like figure out my pace of the story, not in a structural way, but in a like chapter kind of way. If I want to have longer chapters or shorter chapters, and where I should have shorter chapters, because shorter chapters makes the reading, I think, in my case, when I read, it makes the reading go so much quicker. And when I do want or do have like this big event where I do want things to be fast-paced and things happening like page after page, I'm thinking about that as well. If I should make the chapters shorter, if it would be one big chapter, I could like switch it up to 2 shorter chapters from the same character, for example. Chapter 22 is the last chapter of the first act, and I'm on chapter 17 now. So 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 6 chapters left. I hope and I think that I won't be hitting 40k in the end of Act 1, because that is a freaking long Act 1. The problem that I have is that I have so many chapters for Act 1, but I don't have as much chapters in Act 2 and 3. So what if the beginning of my book drags a lot, and then the middle is so fast and the end is so fast? This is the case where I'm like really insecure, because I haven't written that much before, or like I have written 2 full novels. I always tend to forget about the NaNoWriMo project, but that is technically a full-length novel. So I have written 3 novels, and I have gotten like feedback on one of them. So I'm very unsure about like the structure of my books and how I have been doing it. Yes, it may have worked for God's Wrath and Ruin, but maybe it didn't work for Project Full Moon that it did for NaNoWriMo. And maybe it doesn't work for this one. Sequels, or books in general, are always hard. And I always feel like even though you have written a lot of books before, or a lot of short stories before, every time you sit down to write something new, all the same insecurities that you had the last time comes up again, and maybe new ones. I'm gonna stop talking about my insecurities now and welcome you again to the new writing vlog. Today I'm going to write some more, like I said, but I'm also going to play some Stardew Valley, because I have been away from home, so I haven't been able to play Stardew Valley, and I'm obsessed with that game right now. Hello and welcome to today's update. I have written 2068 words today, and I will not write anything more. I have done some errands and watched a lot of Let's Plays on the new game from the creators of Until Dawn. It's a horror game. I loved watching Until Dawn. I haven't played it because playing video horror games would be freaking scary as hell. But watching other people play them is much better than watching like a horror movie. So I don't feel like it's as scary as watching horror movies, but it's still scary enough. So I have been watching the new game, or Let's Plays of the new game, which is called Hackett's Quarry. The Quarry, Hackett's Quarry. And it's so good. It's so good. And I love that their biggest games, Until Dawn and Hackett's Quarry, that both of those games are kind of paranormal. You know, me being a fantasy and paranormal lover, I love that shit. So anyway, I just finished another writing sprint, and I am on the last chapter of the first act. It ended up being chapter 21, and it is from my female main character. But once in a while I feel like there is this writing day where I just write really short chapters. So the previous chapters, chapter 19 were only 600 words, chapter 20, 749. And I think that this is going to be longer because it is already 700 words and I have seen a second scene. But the shorter chapters is when either I have a shorter, more fast-paced scene and I want to like split one scene into 2 POVs. So for example, the last scene, I wanted to have that both from my female main character and my male main character, so that those 700 plus 700-ish, those are the same scene. So it would have been a longer chapter if it was from one POV, but I wanted to get both POVs. So that's why I have shorter chapters. But I was thinking back on what I had written today, and I think I am missing a lot of the like description, world building, like how does the room look, how does it feel? Is it dark outside? Is it dark in the room? I have mentioned this, but I might need to mention something more. Like, how are they dressed even? Like, they're not running around naked, they are dressed. So that's just detail work. And maybe I don't need to write more about this, but maybe I just need to point out that they are wearing clothes. But like I said, I'm on chapter 21 and I have one scene left to write, and I think it's going to be a shorter scene. But I hit, very fun news, I hit 30k today, and I also hit 31k. My overall word count is 31,480. And what I'm seeing here is definitely that my chapters are off. I have combined this chapter 21 and the chapter 22. I had combined into 2 chapters because they were so short scenes that I could easily do 1 chapter of them, and they are kind of cause and effect. So it made sense for me, at least, to put them into 1 chapter. And so there is a jump between Act 1 and 2. Act 1 ends with the 21st chapter and Act 2 begins with the 24th chapter. So I need to edit and I need to like redo the chapters and rename the chapters. But this means that I am very near the midpoint of my story, because the midpoint is currently at chapter 30. I just renamed the chapter, so the midpoint chapters are 29 and 30, and I'm on 21 now. So still a lot of chapters to do. I do believe that I will hit 40k before I hit the midpoint, but that is fine. But what I will try to do tomorrow, 1, try to finish the end of this chapter, and then also try to focus on not fast drafting so much. Because when there are scenes with a lot of action, and when I might not be feeling it, I tend to fast draft just to get me through that scene. And I don't want to do that because my writing gets sloppy when I fast draft. So tomorrow I'm going to take it easy and I'm going to try to finish this chapter and, try to get as much out of the scene as possible and just not, run through it. Even though it is kind of a transportation scene, so it doesn't hold much weight in of itself, but it does transport me from this scene to the next. I still need the scene because otherwise the female main character wouldn't make that decision that she makes in the scene that leads her to the next thing. I still need it, it's still important, but it's kind of a transportation scene, maybe. I don't know what you call it. The one thing that I'm feeling a little bit unsure about is the romance, actually. If I compare it to Gods of Rot and Ruin and then Project Full Moon, both of those projects are fantasy romances, and Gods of Ruin is the first one in this series. The romance in that book felt very easy for me, and the same goes with Project Full Moon. Their dynamic and their banter, especially in Project Full Moon, they have an interesting dynamic, to say the least. I had a lot of fun doing that, and sometimes I felt lost in the female main character, why she was saying things and doing things. But with Gods of Ruin, it felt kind of easy making the romance and, putting these 2 characters together because they fit really well from the beginning. It was just a nice romance. But this one, because I'm leaning so much into the romance, I feel like I need to get it right, and I need to get it right from the first start. From the start. I don't think I will need to worry too much about one of the characters being weak, like a weak protagonist, or they need to be more fleshed out. I don't think that's the case because I have done so much work on them beforehand and I know them already. But their banter and their dynamic I feel a little bit unsure about in some of the scenes, because I want to write this thing, but then I'm second guessing myself all the time because I feel like, no, she wouldn't say this, or why would he say this? Is this something he would actually say or do? Because I had an idea beforehand that both of my characters would be very cold and one of my characters especially is very judgmental, and that is still the case. But I don't know how my male main character is going to respond to that, because how I have been responding it as him is with either banter, questioning her judgments, or making a joke or a comment out of it. But most of the time he is judging her judgment and questioning her judgments, which is what I want. But I feel like he may be a bit too much of a softie, and that was not the case. Like, I love softies in romances as well. My male main character, or my love interest in God's Wrath and Ruin, is kind of a softie, but I don't feel like he is. But I feel like I have written him as a softie. I don't know. I never know. Maybe when I read back everything that I have written, everything will fall into place and their banter will just feel very realistic, and I will be sure about my decisions. Here's the thing. It's only the dialogue that I'm worried about, like when he actually opens his mouth and answers her comments, because I feel like all of his internal thoughts is like spot on what I wanted or thought of him before I started writing. Like, I know him like he is up in his own mind. You know, his actions matches what he thinks and how I have written him, like his thought process. But then as soon as he opens his mouth, I feel like he loses that kind of strength. I will talk to you guys tomorrow when I have hopefully finished chapter 21 and am officially finished with the first act of this book. 1/3 of this book is done. It is done. It is written. And almost halfway. Hello, it's Wednesday the 15th and I have taken the train to stay with my grandparents because I am going to work tomorrow, Thursday, up until Saturday evening or afternoon. So I'm here for the following 2 weeks. That's why the surroundings look so different from where I usually am. I think I talked about this in this vlog. I should have, but I am working at the library for the summer, so that's why I'm here. I'm sitting in their outside area, and you guys, you should see what I'm seeing right now. There's trees. They live besides like a lake, river that turns into a lake, a big lake. That's beside me, or that's on the picture right behind me. But I am sitting down to write some because I tried writing earlier today, but I was stressed. I was just sitting around at home waiting for, you know, the time where I would hop on the bus and then take the train here. It didn't take long. Like, by train, I live 1 hour and 40 minutes from here. So it didn't take long at all. And I love taking the train. It's really calming, even though I almost like threw up. I got really nauseous today on the train because, you know, trying to look outside when the train is going 120 kilometers per hour. Not a good idea when you just passed a lot of trees. Yeah, you get nauseous. Anyway, I'm going to sit down and write because I wasn't able to today. And what I noticed was that I had missed writing one of the scenes in my earlier chapters. So I was on chapter 21, writing about, like, continuing on chapter 1 and thinking that I was done with everything. But then I looked back on the earlier chapters and noticed that the second scene in chapter 18, I have 2 scenes in that, and I had forgot to write like the last bit of that second scene. So I was able to write like 480 words something earlier today, and now I'm sitting down to write the second scene in the 21st chapter. I'm going to write for 2 writing sprints, 20 or 25 minutes each, because Abby Emmons is hosting a live stream right now. Where I live, it's 19 p.m, so 7 o'clock in the evening. With that said, I'm gonna stop talking and start writing. Hello again. So I'm officially beginning the second act, and I'm feeling really great about it. The first scene for that chapter is written, and now we're on the second scene. I think this is going to be maybe a shorter chapter, because then we're jumping into chapter 23, which will be from my female POV, and this whole scene or event means a lot more to my female main character than my male main character. But I still wanted his POV because it is kind of building their romantic relationship, so I wanted to have his viewpoint on that. This is a thing that may change in the future. because I want to have equal page time for both of my two characters, I don't want to pick favorites, I guess. I don't want one character to represent the story more than the other. It may seem like that maybe to a reader, but I don't want it to seem like that. So this event maybe will only be from the female main character's POV, and maybe the event before will like be only from the male POV, but that means I will be like deleting some chapters and maybe adding more stuff to a chapter or rewriting some scenes. But I'm very happy with having written 1,877, and I'm very happy about hitting 33,000 words in my manuscript. I definitely think that I will be able to write 700 more words in this chapter, which means I will hit 34 chapters tomorrow probably. I will try to write something tomorrow. Like I said, I have work tomorrow and I have a lot of stuff to do and I don't know how long I will work. Maybe I will work for like long in the evening. Maybe I will work for only like 3 hours, 4 hours. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But with that said, I'm happy about this. I'm happy about having reached the second act already. And I'm on my way to the midpoint. Right now, I'm on chapter 22. The midpoint begins at chapter 29. I'm going to end the vlog here because I'm going to work for the next 3 days. And I don't know how much I will be able to write and be able to talk to you guys about it. So I just feel like the most productive thing for me to do is just to end the vlog here and get it up for you as soon as possible. I don't think it will be until July sometime. It is 15th of June today, so it will be quite a long time until then. But I have had a few productive days. How many words did I write Monday? 4,000. Yesterday I was able to write like 2,000 maybe. And today almost 2,000. So it's going fast. It's going great so far. Some things I am very unsure about, and I have talked about those things in this vlog and in every vlog. But those things are natural for every single like writing process, writing a new book. And I'm still very pleased with my outline. I haven't changed that much. Like all the events are still there. It's still the original from the outline. But I have changed the order of certain chapters and, you know, maybe making a scene longer in this chapter and adding this scene in this chapter just to make it make sense. Just to make it make sense. So with that said, I'll end the vlog here, but I thank you so much for watching this video. Leave a like and a comment below and let me know what you are writing right now. Like, do you have any special writing plans for the summer, or what are you working on right now? Are you editing? I'm dreading the editing of this book. Like, I love writing, I love drafting a book, but I hate the editing process. Anyway, so if you have done all that, if you have liked and you have commented, then subscribe because I post a new video every week, every Thursday, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!